And so what we're really looking at here is we want the dimensions of this screen. So we want to know how wide the screen is and how tall. And we have to work with that 72-inch diagonal. So it's 72 inches along here. And now we need the other ones. We need those, the base and the height. So what I'm going to do is I know the ratio is 16 to 9. I'm going to say, well, let's make this 16x. And let's make this 9x. So now I've got a right triangle with just one variable in it, that variable x. And that 16 to 9 come from this ratio there. So now if I set my Pythagorean theorem up, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which side's my hypotenuse? What's got to be c? 72. Sweet. We got that part nailed down. But I think if you guys can just, if you can remember where to get the 16 and the 9x from, I think it's pretty straightforward. A squared I'm going to call my 9x. And 16x will be my b. And so now I distribute. Now this is another place you got to be careful. 9x quantity squared is 81x squared. I got to square both things in the parentheses. And that's one that people sometimes forget. Like they might just write 9x squared. And then 16 squared is 256. 72 squared, 5184. It looks a lot worse than it is. So let's see, combine like terms. So 337. This is what my calculator says. 5184. Get the x squared by itself. X squared is therefore 15.38. Now I'm down to rounding. Now, story problems, you don't need to worry about simplified radical form unless they tell you. It's pretty safe to assume if we're using an application, you can go straight to a decimal. And now I take the square root. X is the square root of 15.38, which my calculator tells me is 3.92. So is that the height or the width? Well, I thought the width was 16x. I thought that was 9x. Maybe I should plug it in. Okay. So the width is 16 times that. And then the height will be 9 times it. Yeah. And watch out, because the reason I remind you guys, getting x doesn't always answer the question. It might just be a step along it. And in this case, the dimensions were 16 times x and 9 times x. So once I got my x, I plug it back in. That's where I get my final answers of 35.3 inches by 62.72 inches. Now for giggles, let's go a step further with this guy. But actually, wait, before I do that, what questions can I answer about the process? And fear not, this isn't the only one of these with the ratios we're going to do, but looking at it, how do we do? Okay, let's go a little further with it. I'm going to put a price tag on this TV of $8.99. I have no idea what a 72-inch screen costs these days. You'd have to check Best Buy or Target or something. What's that? Ah, Black Friday sale. How do I find the area of that rectangle? Yeah, length times width. So let's do that. Let's see, 35.3 by 62.72 gets me an area of 2,214 square inches. So if I do $800, no, $899 divided by 2214, that means I'm paying 40 cents per square inch of TV. And I can use that to compare televisions. I can now take another TV, do the same process, get the area, divide it into 800, and get its cost per square inch. And one thing that's happened over the last few years is that price keeps coming down. You can get more TV for less every day. Every time another television comes out, it's a little bit cheaper on that ratio, which either makes TVs cheaper or means you can get bigger TVs, whichever way you like to go.